Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Burkhart, and today we will be discussing the importance of data privacy in the recent Facebook Cambridge Data Analytica scandal. To begin, let's first talk about what is data privacy. Data privacy relates to the collection of personal identifiable information and its dissemination or use. Personal identifiable information, or PII, can be a person's full name, their social security number, credit card number, bank account numbers, birth date, or even medical records. PII is any confidential information that can be used to identify an individual. The issue with the collection of PII is that when the information is collected, it is done so without pre-authorization or proper disclosure, resulting in a privacy issue. Now that we know what data privacy is, why is it important? With the increasing use of online social media applications and online platforms for all aspects of our lives, it is important to protect our information. A data breach at any institution can result in PII being accessed by hackers and cause potential harm such as identity theft and fraud. This was discussed in the Sony case prior in this course. Also, with the use of social media, third-party applications have accessed profiles of users and their friends to target advertisements. They have also tracked our viewing and posting habits to direct material accordingly, which also relates back to another case we discussed in this course of the Netflix case. This graphic does a great job at depicting how busy the internet actually has become. As you can see in this image, there have been 900,000 Facebook logins every minute, and 4.1 million YouTube videos are viewed every minute also. With so much activity on the internet, how do we protect our personal data? I've put together a few do's and don'ts I learned while completing this presentation. Some quick and easy steps to help keep your data safe are to shred all sensitive documents, secure your home Wi-Fi password, and monitor your sharing preferences to block unwanted access. Also, make sure you don't share PII electronically, especially social security numbers, over email, or allow third-party applications to link to your social media accounts. Now, we will further discuss data privacy through the recent Facebook and Cambridge Data Analytica scandal. First, let's take a look at how the Facebook privacy issues began by going through a brief timeline of events. In 2010, Facebook launched the platform called Open Graph to third-party applications. This update allowed external developers to reach out to Facebook users and request permission to access a large chunk of their personal data, and to access their Facebook friends' personal data too. If accepted, these apps would then have access to a user's name, gender, location, birthday, education, political preference, relationship status, religious views, all which was considered to be basic information in one's Facebook profile. Also, with additional permissions, the external sites could gain access to a person's private messages sent and received, and also their online chat status. By 2013, a growing number of users were using this application. The application would then harvest everyone's personal data that used it, also accessing their friends. This resulted in the third party having access to tens of millions of Facebook profiles. In 2014, Facebook updated their policy to limit a third party's access to the user's friends' data without permission, but it could still access the data of the user. In late 2015, reports surfaced that Cambridge Analytica was targeting millions of Facebook users with political ads to sway their presidential election. The data of Facebook users and their friends was used to direct advertising and propaganda on the newsfeed of the targeted users. By 2017, it was reported that the information of over 87 million Facebook profiles were purchased and harvested for information. Now, fast forwarding to the current time period, in early 2018, the Federal Trade Commission launched an investigation into Facebook's potential violation of a prior settlement with the US government over privacy concerns. In response to the investigation, Zuckerberg announced more changes to the access of third-party developers. These changes included limiting the amount of information users were required to provide to access third-party apps, and no longer allowing third parties to access users' data after 3 months of inactivity. By pressure from US lawmakers, Zuckerberg then testified in court during the hearings with Congress. This slide shows one of the most powerful quotes from Zuckerberg's testimony. He stated, "We have a responsibility to protect your data, and if we can't, then we don't deserve to serve you. I've been working to understand exactly what happened and how to make sure this doesn't happen again." I think this is a great quote from Zuckerberg, and this truly shows his acknowledgement that he had failed and he violated the trust of his 2 billion users. Moving forward, so why does the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal matter? There are a few prominent reasons. First, being the potential influence on political elections. The targeted advertisements and fake news headlines could sway voters, along with the potential Russian interference of the election. Also, the unauthorized use of personal information could potentially violate privacy laws and regulations in several countries. Lastly, the privacy concerns have left doubts with shareholders, and Facebook stocks plummeted around 7% when the privacy scandal was first made public. There are also many ethical issues with the way Facebook handled the privacy of its users. As stated previously, Facebook has been in the middle of the political interference scandal, forcing them to disclose the identity of those who purchased ads during the 2016 presidential election. Next, the idea of censoring also comes into play in many countries. This is because people have been arrested for shaming their country in Facebook posts. Therefore, the government has deleted and banned future posts that are similar. Also, Facebook has been accused of labeling people based off past pictures, likes, and timelines. Facebook has bucketized people as being depressed or defeated. This data could then potentially be used by terrorist organizations to recruit future members. This next slide is Zuckerberg's response to the ethical issues. He stated, "I care deeply about the democratic process and protecting its integrity. Facebook's mission is all about giving people a voice and bringing people closer together. Those are deeply democratic values, and we're proud of them. I don't want anyone to use our tools to undermine democracy. That's not what we stand for." Again, I think this is a very powerful quote from Zuckerberg because it shows his raw emotion and he's acknowledging the harm that he could have caused. This now brings us to the current information related to this case. This week, during their keynote, Apple released its updates to their newest operating software. The new iOS had improved media sharing capabilities to make it easier to share photos with friends, group chat with up to 32 people at once, and play video games against friends. At the same time, Apple also introduced new privacy tools in its Safari web browser that will limit the personal data that apps like Facebook can collect. Users now have to accept cookies to allow access to third-party applications within the Safari browser. Many analysts believe that both of these enhancements were directly aimed to pull market share from Facebook. So what's next? There is now growing pressure from many US lawmakers to draft a legal framework around internet and data, which Facebook will be forced to be a key player in. Also, Facebook must work to regain the trust of users by reforming their privacy standards and highly restricting the access of third parties. Lastly, Facebook must also combat fake news sources using their platform by monitoring and banning profiles. Now let's discuss a few questions in order to generate the discussion. First, what personal steps do you take to protect your data and help ensure privacy? Next, how often do you adjust your privacy settings on Facebook to monitor how much information you are sharing with third-party apps? Also, do you think the new Apple iOS features could be the new Facebook? And lastly, prior to the Data Analytica scandal, were you aware that Facebook was allegedly selling your information to third-party developers?